Hey y'all, iRick's Guy here, and I got the Sonos Beam in January of 2021, and now it's August of 2021, and I just want to talk about, what do I think about the Sonos Beam? Am I still glad that I purchased it? Should I have gone with the Arc? And I do have the Arc, by the way, but it's in a different room. And should I have gotten the white color or the black color? So the reason I got the white color is because, admittedly, at the time I ordered this, and by the way, you can expand this video's description and then click the link there to find where to order it online. And I've also got the mount, like I use, linked there as well. But when I ordered it, the black was out of stock, so that's why I went with white. Doing it over, I would probably go with the white again. I think it looks cool. If you want it to kind of blend more with your TV, assuming your TV is black, you may want to get the black one. But I like that. I think that looks good. And this mount that I've used to attach it is great because, see, I can, on my TV, I've got a rotating mount, so I can have it facing my exercise bike. I can have it facing my rowing machine, or I can, pull it over this way and it'll face my sofa area. So, very nice. For the space, again, this TV, I think, is this a 41 or a 42? It's a smaller TV. So, to have the Arc on this TV would have been overwhelming. So for a small space like this Beam is great. And that leads to the question, well, you've mentioned a small space and this, that, and the other, how's the audio? I will tell you, the audio from this Sonos Beam is phenomenal. Owning both the Sonos Beam and the Sonos Arc, I will say the audio quality of this for my ears is just as good. Now, there's going to be some areas where you may notice a subtle audio difference, and that's movies that are prepared with Dolby Atmos. If you're using Dolby Atmos, although it sounds good through this, the Dolby Atmos is going to be something that'll really differentiate the Sonos Beam from the more expensive Sonos Arc. But with that being said, this Sonos Beam in this space, and again, I'll step back here so you can see how I've got mine set up. This Sonos Beam in this space is perfect because I got my sleeper sofa area over there. I've got my rowing machine, I got my exercise bike, and then I've got the TV with the Sonos Beam below it. So it gives you more than enough power. Actually, I wouldn't want anything more powerful in this room. Now, something I did add, and I would encourage you to add, is the Sonos Sub. As I've got the Sonos Sub back here, when I'm doing my workouts I use Apple Fitness Plus, and it sounds like I'm in a gym. One of the things that's really good about the Sonos Beam is that, regardless of what type of content you're watching, if you're doing workout videos like I do with Apple Fitness Plus, or if you're watching a YouTube video, maybe you're streaming a movie, Netflix or HBO or Showtime, whatever, the audio experience is the same throughout. And what's phenomenal about the Sonos Beam's audio is that you can get really loud, but it's not distorted. Also, the separation, and again, I'm not an audio engineer, so laugh at some of my terminology if you want to, but the separation of spoken parts from action, maybe it's just blowing up and, you got all this booming and popping in the background, but you've got people speaking. You can clearly hear what people are saying, but you also get the other sounds. So it's a very immersive type sound experience. If you've ever been to a movie theater, which most of y'all probably have, if you've been to a movie theater, you know how that audio, it never sounds distorted, and you can hear what everybody's saying, and it's kind of like you feel like you're part of the action. This really brings you in. One of the things that's really cool about this, this is a modular system. So if I wanted to add rear speakers, I could. I did opt to add the subwoofer, but you don't have to add the subwoofer. If you just want, and maybe you're watching news networks and that sort of stuff, and maybe you don't have the need for any sort of bass. This has a moderate amount of bass out of it, but, if you're just watching news broadcast and that sort of stuff, you may be fine with the Beam only. You may not want to add a sub. Now, if you've got a space that's set up where you've got room behind your, say, your sofa, you might want to add some of the speakers in the rear, and make like a 5.1 type setup or whatever. One thing you may not realize is that you can add more than one subwoofer. I think currently you can add 2 subwoofers. So if you really want to add just a tremendous amount of bass, you could even pair another subwoofer to this. One of the things that I've really enjoyed about this is that once I set it up, it's been hassle-free. Now, setup's performed through an app. It's a Sonos app. You can adjust your EQ settings on your Beam. You can also adjust your EQ settings on your Sub independent of the Beam. So you can really fine-tune everything for your space. And it's got a built-in, I think it's called True Tune or something. Correct me if I misname that, but it's got a tuning thing built into the app where basically you walk around with your phone and it uses the microphone in the phone to develop an audio profile for your space. So when I did that, everything sounds phenomenal. Again, even without, in my setup, I don't have any of the rear speakers. I just have the Sonos Beam and then the subwoofer. Even without any additional speakers, the way that this simulates a surround sound type sound is phenomenal. Actually, I'll go as far as to say that the sound out of this, the surround sound type effects, I would say it's better. And again, this was like I would say a 10 or 15-year-old system that I had, but it was nice. It was an Onkyo 5.1 system that I had. That sounded good, but there's something about this, just with soundbar and just with subwoofer, that grossly trumps the performance of that 5.1 system. So, with this, you may find that you may not want to add any additional speakers. It's a really phenomenal sounding piece of equipment. But I am glad I added the subwoofer because, again, I do watch some action movies in here, but primarily I'm doing my workouts. And, having this with the Sonos Sub, it gives me that bass, and it makes you feel like you're in a gym. But when I'm watching action movies, it's phenomenal. Just as good, in my opinion, just as good as sounding like a movie theater. Now, if I had a bigger space, I would add those additional speakers just because I can. And that's something I want to bring up, is that this being a modular system, you could start out with only the Sonos Beam, and you say, well, you know what, maybe I want a little bit extra bass. You could add a sub. Maybe you want to add 2 subs. You can add them as you go. You don't have to do it all at once. Likewise, if you said, hey, maybe I want to add some rear speakers. Maybe your TV watching sofa or whatever is not against the wall and you got room behind it. Maybe you want to put some speakers in the rear. You can do that. And that's one of the things a lot of people talk about. Man, Sonos is expensive. For what you get, it's really not. And again, the ability to add additional speakers if you want to, after the initial purchase is really cool. And see, the subwoofer is wireless, so I don't have any wires running from it to my TV. So setting it up is super simple. You don't have all the complexities that like a traditional 5.1 surround sound system would bring. You'd probably have to run speaker wires through your walls, or if you didn't want to do it properly, you could have them thumbtacked to the wall, and that just doesn't look good. This is a very clean and professional looking system. And then again, also, when you hear it, and of course I'm not playing any audio clips during this video because, you can't film a video with audio and say, hey, this is what a sound system sounds like. You just got to hear it yourself. But I would encourage everyone, especially if you've got a smaller space or a smaller TV, you may not need the larger Sonos Arc, which I love it. Check out my videos for it. But you may find that this Sonos Beam, even without the subwoofer or without any of the additional speakers, may, greatly exceed your needs. So I've enjoyed it. Again, it's August of 2021. I purchased this in January of 2021. It's been a great hassle-free experience. Haven't had any problems with it. I use it with, I've got my Apple TV 4K that I use for my Apple Fitness workouts, but I also have a Fire Stick for the Fire Stick 4K, and pretty much use that for all my movie watching because I have Fire TVs in all of my other rooms. This room I have the Apple TV in here. I don't have Apple TV in other rooms, and I've got the Apple TV in here because that's what I use for my Apple Fitness Plus workouts. But the ability to pair these remotes, I paired my Apple TV 4K remote with it, can control the volume and everything. Also paired the Amazon Fire Stick 4K remote with it. Super simple. And, you know, if I'm watching, for example, if I'm watching Fire TV and I'm not doing a workout or whatever, if I turn the TV off with this and then turn it back on, it's going to come back to the Fire TV. And, you know, again, I use this to control the volume, so it's a one remote type solution if you want it to be, if you're not using multiple devices like I am. And then this is the remote that came with the TV. I can change input between Apple TV or Fire Stick 4K. And that's worth mentioning. You can control the volume and again, all the EQ settings for both the soundbar, the subwoofer, and any additional speakers that you may have purchased and paired with it through the Sonos app. So it's really easy to use. I highly recommend it. And again, if you're shopping for the Sonos Beam, the TV mount like I use, I mounted it below the TV, but I could have mounted it above. Expand this video's description and then click the link there. You can find the Beam, the Sub, all the other types of speakers. And if there's any questions you have, please ask, and I'll try to film a follow-up video to respond to your questions. Thanks for your viewership, and y'all have a good day. And I can't reiterate how awesome sounding the audio quality is from this. And again, being able to hear the spoken parts, being able to hear the action, you know, the spoken parts among the action clips, and having awesome bass, but bass that doesn't shake and rattle. I mean, it's just a very clean, cinematic sounding bass. Thanks for your viewership, and y'all have a good day. Hey y'all, Captain Irix Guy here. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. If you did, please be sure to subscribe. It's youtube.com/Irix Guy. And ring that bell icon when you do to be notified whenever I post another video. Thanks for your viewership, and y'all have a good day.